the biggest changes this year with the override are two gifts that we have, the gift of space and the gift of time. Here at Floral Street School, we were very lucky to benefit from sending nearly 100 first graders back over to Beal School, which just freed up an enormous amount of space within the school. It makes for transitions during the day so much easier. It makes for our smallest and youngest children to get the attention that they need, learning the routines and the expectations of being a successful student, whether it's opening their own lunch container in the cafeteria and receiving adult attention quickly to help them with that, or just learning how to travel throughout the school and be independent. The other big gift that we received was time, and it sounds like such a silly thing, but I had 30 second graders in my classroom last year, and there was only enough time to take care of the biggest issues, whether they were the biggest academic challenges or the biggest behavior problems that were popping up. That's all the time in the day that we had. With 21 students this year, I have the time to know each of my students individually as people. I have the time to work with them on their academic needs, whether it's remediating something that they're having a challenge with or accelerating their learning to take them to the next level. I have time in the day to just get to know them a little bit better, to know what makes them tick, to know about their families, about their personalities, their likes and dislikes. As first grade students, that makes them feel welcome and safe in the classroom. If they're not happy here, they're not going to learn any better. So we have the time to get to know one another. I have time personally for correcting papers in a more efficient manner, for moving throughout the day in a more efficient manner, getting to more reading groups, math groups, writing groups, so that we're meeting one-on-one and in those small groups for better learning. And even though it sounds a little bit selfish, personally I have more time for myself. And when I'm able to go home every day and be mom and be a wife and be a friend and a daughter for a few minutes, I come to school the next day refreshed and ready to be a teacher again. I felt that last year, with all those big pieces coming into place and not enough time for the little pieces or for myself, I was going home worn out. I was not having the passion and the drive for teaching that I've had for the past 12, 13 years here in Shrewsbury. And I personally just feel more rejuvenated this year and excited to be back in my classroom and excited to be working with my 21 first graders.
It's been a great new start to this school year, I think in large part due to the reduced class size. We've seen tremendous effects, and I think the students have, where I feel that when I'm working in a classroom, it's much easier to move around. The kids have reported that it's easier for them to move around, and it's easier to work in small groups where you can actually address individual student needs, where I think in the past the groups were so large that it was really hard to target any individual any individual student.
Yeah, and I've noticed it's actually much quieter in the classroom, and I feel like I already have had an opportunity to get to know my students. With so few students in the classroom, I feel like in the morning when we're saying good morning and asking how their night was, we're getting to know them on a personal level, which has been really great. And even circulating in the classroom to assist students when they have questions, it just feels like their voice is heard more. And I know that we checked in with students today about what they're enjoying, and actually a lot of the kids said that they feel like they get their questions answered faster. So I think, couldn't ask for anything more. We're so happy.
I also think we've actually started parent conferences already, and I think that in part is due to the fact that we know our students a little bit better and a little bit sooner. Before, it took us a little bit longer to get to know them, and it was hard to judge if they were just distracted by the environment they were in, or whether, but now that we are able to work in small groups and the room is quieter, you really can get a feeling of where they're struggling and how we can better help them.
Yeah. Overall, it just feels completely different. I know from last year to this year, I just feel so happy and so relieved, because I really feel like I'm teaching the way I've always dreamt of, which is, really getting to know my students and helping them as much as I can each day.
And last year, every class we had 30 students and about 5 adults. And one of the things I think that in spreading the teams out and having an additional teams, the number of students and the diversity of students we have in the class also seems to be much more reasonable. And so while we had a lot of adults and students, just the volume in the class was much different. And now I think the kids can focus, I think, better on the instruction because there's less distraction within the room.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm noticing is in terms of providing feedback to students, which we know is so important for kids to grow. So I feel like I'm able to, like when I'm getting feedback to them, get the feedback to them already quicker. And another thing I've noticed just with presentations, that students are able to come up and publicly present, and it just takes a lot less time. So something that may have taken 2 days in the past, kids can present a keynote presentation about their summer reading, or we did an introduction, an iMovie introduction that the kids are starting to share, and I know that gives them an opportunity to really, be in front of the class and have those skills and share their work that they're really proud of. So.
And I think one of the things the kids actually mentioned too that I was surprised is they said that they were able to access the manipulatives more, and I think it's because there are less of them, so they have more opportunities actually to work with materials where before there may have been, they had to have large groups and they really couldn't get their hands on the materials to help them understand the concepts we're trying to teach.
We feel very lucky.
Yeah, it's been a great year.
I think with the smaller class sizes as a result of the override, it allows for teachers to do a more personalized instruction and feedback. Myself, I've noticed obviously it's much easier to grade assignments, projects, homework, and get those things back to the students in a more timely manner, but also to give them more specific feedback, and that's been a great benefit as a result of the override. In addition to that, more of an unmeasurable thing would be the efficiency of teaching, the fact that there are fewer students in the classroom per teacher. It makes it a lot easier to circulate around the room to find out what students' strengths and weaknesses are, and be able to deliver the content and the skills necessary to make students understand what they need to understand each unit. In addition to that, there are better opportunities, more opportunities for collaboration among colleagues, not being inundated with a variety of other issues that come from large class sizes. You're allowed to collaborate a little bit more with other teachers, as well as taking some risks in terms of use of technology in the classroom. The district drive toward more technology. That's a time-consuming effort on teachers' parts to incorporate new technologies, and that is an additional benefit of the smaller classrooms, allowing some time for that, as well as just personal reflection on lessons and activities, being able to have some time to think about what has been done or what will be done, and then assess how that's been done and make some adjustments for the future. That's also helpful, having smaller class sizes. And then finally, the personal relationships, being able to build a social as well as an academic relationship with students helps to create a better environment for learning. And I think the students and the teachers all get a little bit more out of that. And for me personally, it's been there's been a big difference from this year to last year. I have the equivalent of more than a class full of students less this year than I did last year, and I have the same number of classes. I still have 5 classes.